Hi guys, so welcome to the third episode of my podcast, Building and Navigating, which is short for Building Resilience and Navigating the Journey with Multiple Sclerosis. So I just wanted to put it out there that sometimes, I'm out of breath from exhaustion. Maybe you'll hear it in my voice, so I apologize for that in advance, but it all comes with this journey of mine. So bear with me. In the beginning of these podcast episodes, I'm not planning for it to be long episodes, like hour long, because my story is very complex and it's multifaceted. So I don't want my audience to just be dragging with everything that I have to say. So I'll probably have like a series or have different parts of just sharing this journey with you and some of my experiences. But I wanted for this episode in particular for me to just talk a little bit about how I got here, So this is definitely a space that I want to create, especially a safe space. But I also want to put it out there that I'm not telling people what to do, even with their journey. I'm not a medical practitioner. I'm not an advisor. I'm not telling people, this is what worked for me, so you should do it too. Everyone has their own journey. Everyone has their own experience. Everyone has things that works for them and things that don't work for them. So definitely seek medical advice if you have questions regarding anything that I might bring up in some of these episodes, anything that might pique your interest or raises a concern. Please just refer to your medical team for just extra advice or recommendations and go from there. I also wanted to mention that this is very hard for me. I'm not someone who likes to put myself out there in general. Even in my line of work, I'm very behind the scenes type of gal. I like to amplify other people's voices and just work behind the scenes. So it's taken a lot of courage for me to get to this place of just vulnerability and putting it out there for the world to hear and to see and to experience as I'm going through it, So part of my journey is not me going through something and then I overcame it and now I'm living to tell the tale. Like, I'm still going through hardship. I'm still going through this journey that is very complex. Even as I'm sitting here, there's a war going on inside of me. I know I'm smiling, but my back is hurting me and I'm sitting on a pillow. I'm not comfortable. So I'll delve in a little bit more into just some of the things that I experience on a day-to-day basis. And what has led me to come to this place. So it's really hard, to talk about it. And so this podcast right now, I am at a place where I just want to start with just me, because it's not just my journey and my story, but it's also my lens and my experiences. So maybe down the road, I will, like I mentioned in the intro video, that I will be engaging with healthcare providers, maybe family members or caregivers, personal caregivers, and maybe other people who are caregivers, people who might be experiencing the same challenges with multiple sclerosis or other types of chronic illnesses. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go. But in the very beginning, I just wanted to kind of be the main role or the main person just sharing my story, and then we'll go from there. So that's where we're at. I also wanted to put it out there that I know right now it's like I'm just talking, I'm not getting anywhere, but it's really difficult for me to speak on these things because it requires me to relive a lot of traumatic events that I still suffer from. You know, I still have PTSD from some of these traumatic health scares that I'm working on. And so I'm just going to be brave and courageous enough and share that with you. Just because, as you know, I've been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, but it's not just that I'm dealing with. I've had different scares or health scares in recent years that have led up to where I am today. So let me just rewind and start with just this whole world of chronic illness and just inflammation and just health scares started a few years back, where I was going through a lot. I was in university, and this was a long time ago. Like, I'm not that young. I'm also not that old, but years back, I was in university. I was going through some stuff. Long story short, one day I was feeling lethargic. You know, I didn't have an appetite for food. I was feeling some kind of way. I felt extreme fatigue. And let me just say that, you know, I'm an athlete, you know, so I've never felt that kind of fatigue before. I'm always go, go, go. You know, I always wake up very early in the morning, no later than 6 a.m. to train. This is like all throughout middle school and high school, even university. I wake up so early, 5 a.m. I train, working out of the gym, training different muscle groups. And I had a system that worked for me. So to be in a position where I felt extreme fatigue, even when I was resting and just off, you know, it just didn't make sense. So I went into the walk-in clinic because at the time my doctor was not available and it was after hours. So I went to the walk-in clinic and I told them, I told the attending doctor at the time, just some of what I was feeling and my symptoms and whatnot. And I did some blood work. And fast forward, I got a call from my doctor to come in. And she told me that I have a mild case of hypothyroidism. It wasn't very extreme where it was problematic, but it was problematic enough to be concerned and to be put on medication to manage it. So hypothyroidism is when you have low levels of your thyroid hormones. And as I mentioned before in the intro video, your thyroid is located right here. Everyone has it. And it's like a butterfly. And so that's responsible for a lot of different things. And so when you have low levels, you can also have high levels of high levels of the hormones for your thyroid. So that's hyperthyroidism. And so that means it's overactive. And so sometimes what may happen is you have a dysregulated system. So in my case, whether it's hypo or hyperthyroidism, it's dysregulated. If it's hyperthyroidism, it's overactive. And so some of the side effects can be you're eating enough, but you're burning it immediately. And some people will be like, oh yeah, that's not a bad thing, but that's not okay, because that could be like a depletion of nutrients, right? And what I was dealing with was hypothyroidism, where I was feeling lethargic, you know, extreme fatigue, and just off in my system. So the medication was supposed to help me to regulate and to, I guess in a sense, my thyroid wasn't producing enough or wasn't converting correctly. And so the medication was supposed to support my thyroid health. And I was on a very low dose, you know, it wasn't like a very high dose where there's a lot of complications after like usage for a lot of years. And I even lost weight while I was on it because, you know, I was doing intermittent fasting, regulating my system, everything that I have known, everything that I was used to, I was still doing that. And so when I say I lost weight, unintentionally, because when you have hypothyroidism, sometimes the inflammation that may come from that and triggered from other foods can promote weight gain or unexplained weight gain. So you're doing all the right things, but you're gaining weight, right? Because your body is in a state where it's not communicating. Your brain and your thyroid are not communicating correctly that, okay, you're eating this amount of food or this amount of calories, you're working out, burning fat, and it's going to do the job. Like, it's not happening, right? So it's a mild case, but that's where it all started for me. So I would say fast forward a few years later, I was on my way to visit family for the holidays. And I still wasn't feeling okay, but I didn't feel like it was a huge concern. So it's actually very interesting the way that God works, because I wasn't feeling well one day. And I actually wanted to go in person to the clinic to be checked out. And at the time, this is during COVID, the height of the pandemic, so where I live, there's a shortage and, a lot of precautions were being taken. And that walk-in clinic was not open. And a lot of walk-in clinics weren't open at all. And I just felt off. I didn't know how to explain how I was feeling, but I just felt off. So that day, I went about my day. I was doing work for my employer at the time. And what happened was, I'm a corporate baddie. So, I was done with everything and I decided, okay, I was working from home as well. So I decided, okay, let me go upstairs, take a shower and come downstairs and have my supper. And I remember exactly what it was. It was like lasagna that my mother had. Keep in mind, I'm living in a different city and I'm visiting family closer to the holidays, specifically for Christmas. So I think it's about a week or so before Christmas. And when I'm finished with work and whatnot, like I said, I had finished work, went upstairs, wanted to take it because, I don't know. I am the type of person, I reward myself with food, or I reward myself after I've completed a task, whether it's, an assignment at the time when I was in school, or I've completed a task for work. So I went upstairs, wanted to take a shower with the intention of coming downstairs to have my lasagna. But I didn't make it downstairs. And so as I'm even trying to recall what has transpired, I have memory gaps because I don't remember everything. So this is where my world completely changed, because from then until now, I have gaps in my memory. And so I might be all over the place. I might be a bit confused about, the timelines of certain things, but I do recall not coming back downstairs. What I do remember right now is that, and this is hard, oh my goodness, this is hard because I feel like I'm back at that place right now. So I'm just gonna try my best to just share this story with you, because it's very sensitive and it has affected me in so many ways. So bear with me. Okay. So what I do remember is that I had a call bell. I had I don't have it with me, but I had a bell. And for some reason, I passed out and I was unresponsive. But I had this bell and I don't know where it was. I don't even know how I thought to just try to reach for it. But I was just reaching for it and just doing this. Like I couldn't, thank God my room, the door was open and my sister's room was not too far away and my parents' room was not too far away. So this is like, I'm visiting the family home. And I don't know how long I was doing it, but I had some sort of thing, I don't know what to call it, but I had something in me that was like, ring that bell until someone comes, because in that moment, I don't know what was happening. I felt like I was drowning. I felt like literally pressure, like I'm here and someone's doing this to me, like this to me. And I was just so disoriented. And then by the time I know, like, it's really hard to recollect everything because I don't remember a lot, you know, so I'm really trying right now to remember. And I was on my bed, I think. I don't know how I don't know if I crawled to it or if someone put me there, but I was on my bed and all I could hear, because at that moment I was kind of unconscious and I couldn't see. So it's like my eyes were open, but I couldn't see, you know? And all I could hear at that time was my dad. I was in his arms and, you know, I was like limp because you're just there. So it was weird because I wasn't dead, but I wasn't alive. I was just there. And I could hear his voice, like, you know, like shaking me. I couldn't see him. My eyes were open, but I couldn't see him. And I felt, or I heard his voice, like, Elizabeth, Nanaya. That's my Ghanaian name. It's like, Nanaya, wake up. And, you know, he was just like trying to like shake my face and my eyes. Apparently, my sister told me later on that my eyes were like white. I don't know. I don't remember. But I believe her because, I mean, you can't deny what you see. So she told me like my eyes were completely white. And it was very scary to look at me. It was very scary. So I still don't remember what was happening. By the time I knew, I think my husband, we weren't married at the time, but I think he called or someone had, I think my sister let him know what was happening. So I was in the ambulance, unresponsive, but apparently I was on a call. I don't remember this. Apparently I was on a call with him, but I couldn't see him. I don't remember anything. So he was aware of it. I'm in the ambulance. By the time I get to the hospital, I don't know what's happening, but you would think that I would take it seriously. So they kind of like bring me back and I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm laughing because I don't know what's wrong with me. But the first thing I said to my sister was, call my boss. Like I gave her my number, or she had access to his number, and let him know what's happening. Because I'm a proposal writer and a manager. So I had a proposal due the next day. And so I had finished everything. It was ready to send off. I just had like one more document that required my boss's signature, which I usually do on his behalf before sending out. And so all I was thinking of was that proposal that's due the next day. So once I came back, I was in the hospital. I wasn't really like understanding what was going on. I was thinking, okay, I just passed out. Maybe my blood sugar is low or my iron is low. They're gonna give me something, and I'm gonna head home. So I text message my boss, and I think at that time my sister has kind of briefed him and updated him that I've been hospitalized. And so I have I message him on this like platform that we use at work. It's a shared platform, and it was between the CEO and the COO and myself. And I sent them a message letting them know that apparently I'm in the hospital, but I'm going to get home soon. I'm going to send this document. All I need is this from you, da 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 da. And so I think I don't even want to say I'm in shock or denial. I don't think I realize what's even happening. So in the middle of all of this, the doctor comes in and tells me, like, they do all these different tests and tell me that I need to do a CAT scan. And so in that moment, I'm like, okay, I know what a CAT scan is. I know what it implicates and da 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 da. But I call my mom because my mom's a nurse. Thank God for her life. And I call her and I let her know this is what they're saying. Should I do it? And it's more beneficial for me to go through with the scan because that will determine or help them see what's going on in my system, because at that moment they still couldn't figure it out. So I go ahead, have the CAT scan, and I'm recalling this. So like right now, it's like my memory has impaired in the sense that I'm saying it like it's a story. And even though it's my story, I don't have any emotional attachment to it. I don't know how to really explain it. So I'm like saying it like as I'm speaking to you right now, I'm saying it like it happened to someone else, even though they are my memories. But there's like a disconnect, right? So yeah, I go through and have the CAT scan and everything comes back, and the doctor is like, how are you alive? And I'm looking at him, not understanding what that means. He's like, I have a huge pulmonary embolism. And so pulmonary is lungs. Embolism is clot. So I have a huge blood clot in my lungs. And it's so huge that he doesn't understand how I'm still alive. And so I was immediately admitted into the hospital, and I was given like hardcore blood thinners and just started a treatment plan to start helping the clot, huge clot, to dissolve. So by this time, I'm not feeling okay. Like, obviously, I have shortness of breath. There's a heaviness on my chest, and it's internal. It's like, even till this day, luckily the blood clot is dissolved completely. But, when there was a blockage somewhere and that blockage is gone, there's some scarring, there's some remnants and side effects left. So even till this day, I have a heaviness on my chest that I cannot explain. And it's very difficult for me to do certain things. Okay? So anyways, I was hospitalized for about a week. And those were the worst days of my life because there's COVID. So I wasn't allowed to see anyone. No one was allowed to see me. I was only allowed to have visitors every other day. And so, it's difficult because it's like, how do you, as a family, decide who's going to see the person that needs to be seen? You have to choose, like, and it was so isolating. And just, I had to be tested for a lot of different things, including COVID, and I came back clear. So like, COVID did not cause this. I need to also stress that, like, I've never had COVID, and at the time, COVID was not the factor here. And I hadn't received any vaccines at the time because during that time, the vaccines were not even available worldwide, Yeah, but that was one of the worst times of my life. So isolating. I felt like I was going to die. I feel like I kind of did, to be honest. And I came back. And even if I didn't, it felt like being in a middle place where you're not dead, but you're not alive either. You're kind of like in the middle. So you're literally hanging on to a thread. And I don't even know what I was hanging on to because I'm not conscious at that time. Anywho, yeah, it's hard to talk about this, but luckily I was discharged, and the medication that was taken, the blood thinners, were the injectable type. Very painful. And I have a very high pain tolerance. You can hit me and I will take it. I have tough skin, literally and figuratively. And so I have scars on my body. You know, like I have scars on my arms, like I have track marks from medication. And I have scars on my abdomen because I had to get specific areas in which I'm able to either administer those drugs or someone does it for me. And it was very painful, but what can you do, right? So I was discharged, I believe 2 days before Christmas. 2 days before Christmas. So I was happy about that because I did not want to spend Christmas in a hospital. I hate the smell. I hate the environment. But it was kind of weird because when I came home, I missed the hospital. And the reason I say that is because at least if something happens to you, you are in an environment where they can save you immediately. And you're amongst doctors. I had 3 different doctors, maybe 4, come through for me. And yeah, so I was discharged 2 days before Christmas. I don't remember Christmas at all. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I still have gaps. I don't remember Christmas. Yeah. So I spent, and I'm giving you like the expedited version of this because it's really long, but I forgot to mention that I couldn't walk. And breathing was difficult, you know? So I had to learn how to breathe again. And you don't realize the simple things that we're so used to doing every day, especially if you're capable. You don't realize how important and how valuable and how precious your lungs are. Like, at least for me, yes, you breathe through your lungs, but until you have that taken away from you, the ability to breathe on your own, I'm like, why is it hard to breathe? Like, it's like I could breathe, but it was hard. It was like, and I had to learn how to breathe with my diaphragm, you know? So that was hard.